Something that's been bothering me a lot lately is trans activists' lack of understanding and empathy when it comes to cis people dating trans people. Activists have claimed for years that it's transphobic if you don't want to date trans people. And I think due to a lot of backlash, activists are trying to change the narrative, or rather change their strategy. This is what activists have to say today about if it's transphobic if you don't want to date trans people.
This is a quick reminder that if you don't want to date a trans person because of their genitals, that's totally fine. People have genital preferences, but if you're attracted to a trans person, then they disclose to you that they're trans and then you dump them. Just because they're trans, you're transphobic.
You're literally contradicting yourself. First you claim it's okay if you don't want to date someone based on what they have in between their legs. But then right after you claim it's not okay if you don't want to date someone, after finding out what the person has in between their legs, and it's different than what you assumed. When a trans person gets rejected, it is due to their genitals. Like 99% of the time. A lot of men don't want to date trans women because they don't have a kitty. A lot of women don't want to date trans men because they don't have an eggplant. If a man is initially attracted to a trans woman on the street, and then he rejects her after finding out that she's trans, it is due to her genitals. You can be initially attracted to someone without wanting to sleep with them. I hope you know.
People have genital preferences, but if you're attracted to a trans person, then they disclose to you that they're trans and then you dump them. Just because they're trans, you're transphobic.
What you're saying right here sounds extremely predatory, actually. And you might not be a predator, and you might not have those intentions, but what you're saying is, if you think a trans woman is hot when she has clothes on, you have to sleep with her. According to your statement, it's only okay for men to reject trans women if the trans women are open about being trans, like he knows on beforehand. That is so messed up, and you're to some degree advocating for trans women keeping their transness a secret when men pursue them or the other way around. That is fraud. Tricking men or tricking anyone to sleep with them is disgusting. Someone can't consent to intercourse if they don't know the sex of the person they're about to sleep with. So hiding that extremely important, essential information is the predatory part. People must disclose that they're trans from the very beginning when dating someone. I think it makes sense, and I think it makes sense for basically all real transsexual people, because we're not predators, and we don't want to trick men or women into sleeping with us. You will find bad apples in every community and stuff, but generally it's not our intention. So I find it so disgusting to see these trans women, they're most likely not trans, but maybe cross-dressers, tricking men into sleeping with them. And before you say, well, the man is stupid for not knowing, that is victim blaming. If a man scams a grandma over the phone, claims that her grandson is in prison and she needs to bail him out, and the grandma gives this man money, is that her fault? Or is it the person scamming an old lady truly the one to blame? I really don't understand why these trans women try to trick men out there. There are men who want to sleep with trans women. It's not unheard of. Maybe some will argue it's due to my insecurities. I'm afraid of getting rejected. Well, that's bullshit. And that is what I mean by the lack of empathy, the lack of understanding, compassion.
There have been quite a few guys that I have gone on dates with who have never even spoken to a trans person, let alone dated one or gone on a date with one. And I always seem to get a similar response at first of excitement, but also of them being tentative about it, nervous, which in and of itself is a lot of pressure for me as a trans person, pressure to make a good impression, not just for myself, but for a literal entire community. I shouldn't have that responsibility, but I know myself and some other trans people that I've talked to about this feel the same, of being like, okay, well, because I'm this person's first, the trans community has been such a topic of debate and polarizing subject for so many people. Like, you want to make a good impression because you don't want people going and using you as an example of why a trans person is this or that. think that the pressure is not right. It's unfounded. A lot of guys in my situation, they might be like, okay, I didn't even realize, or they'll match with me on an app and they'll be like, wow, like, ha ha ha, I'm attracted to you, but I don't really get it. Like, they're basically going through all of these like motions of realization, but like with me. And that's kind of nasty sometimes because it's like, okay, deal with it yourself. I'm not your vehicle to discover yourself.
If you think that acting like a decent human being and not like a lunatic like these trans people we see in the media nowadays, who are not really trans, as pressure, why is it difficult not to act like trans activists? They do not represent actual trans people, and they only make up a tiny minority of the LGBTQIA plus community. So you want to date men who are already experienced, who have already slept with other trans women? How can a man be experienced if you don't let him experiment? Look, you have the right to not want to date someone who has never been with trans women before, and I'm not necessarily shaming your preferences, your personal preferences, but I feel like you're not the only one who has this personal preference.
I've been with too many first timers, and honestly, you guys, I feel super icky about it. If he says that it's his first time to be with someone like me, don't go for it. Please save your time and energy. No matter how cute, sexy, or attractive that you think this person is, do not fall for it.
What do you mean fall for it? Do you mean fall on that? See, this is the problem. There's a difference between answering questions about your personal preferences and then telling others to have the same preferences. These trans women are shaming men for not being experienced. Something that's been a problem, like an actual problem in the trans women's dating world, is men sleeping with them and never call them back. They only see them as a fetish and they don't want to acknowledge their sexuality. Even if they are dating trans women, it's like a secret. I don't think it's okay. But today, it's not okay if a man hasn't been with tons of trans women. And it's not okay for a man to ask if trans women can help him be secure in his sexuality. You know, help him own the fact that he's attracted to trans women. Don't treat us as sex objects, but treat us as sex objects before you're even allowed to talk to me. Make it make sense.
A first timer is exactly that. It's their first time. So it's their first time trying this out with someone like you, and there's a lot of feelings and insecurities that come with it. He's experimenting. And the problem with that is that you are not a school project for science. You know, you are not an experiment. You're a human being with complex feelings and emotions.
That's true, but the problem is if you reject any guy who's interested in you and has no experience, you're making it almost impossible for you to find someone. You might reject a really nice guy who could be, in the future, your boyfriend.
And what I've learned is that first timers will either A, love the experience, or B, hate it and never do it again. But here's the thing, if it's A, if he loves it, then that means he's gonna wanna keep experimenting and exploring further. And whether that's with you a couple more times, he's gonna wanna branch out and experience it with other kinds of people like similar to you.
But how is it possible for you to know if he wants to sleep with you again or another trans woman? Could you maybe ask him? What if you stop rejecting all of these men and then ask the ones who you find to be a little bit sus? Was this a one-night stand to you? Do you want to see me again? Do you want to explore this part of yourself with other trans women, with other people? So where are we? I think that would be a better idea, because what if the man says, I would love to see you again? Trans activists claim to be so open-minded, tolerant, empathetic, understanding. Yet I see so many shame men for absolutely no reason.
So, you're trans, right?
Yeah, no, I'm trans.
Hey, that's chill. That's chill. I do have to ask though, excuse me. Do you still have it? Like, do you still have it?
I mean, I haven't had any surgeries or anything, if that's what you're asking.
Hey, that's chill. I get it. No problem. I've always, low-key, not that I would, tell anyone this, but like low-key, I mean, I've always wanted to be with a trans girl before, but it's like, I'm not like gay or anything, like I'm not gay, I've been always kind of curious, you know, but like not in a gay way.
Oh, I mean, I don't think it makes you gay or anything, but
But what if it did? Would that be a problem? Would you be against it? Do you have anything against homosexuality? To make fun of men who are confused about their sexuality is not the way to do it as a trans person. If you want to get more dates, more dick, calling dating you straight is more important to you than to help. I mean, I know this is a hypothetical conversation, interaction, right? But it's more important to you than to help men understand themselves better, their attraction better. Again, how can these men be so confident and satisfy all of your needs as a trans woman if this is how you treat them? If you make fun of them and make fun of their confusion, their questions, their, what's it called? Their innocence in some way, meaning them not being experienced. If I was a trans woman, I would say to the man, look, dating me is not the straightest thing in the world, but you know what? Can you all guess what I'm about to say? But that's okay. It's actually okay not to be straight. I cannot believe I have to say this in such a... That's what happens when you buy things on Temu. We're living in such a progressive time, yet it's controversial to say that someone is not straight, that it's okay not to be straight. It makes my head hurt.
I mean, I do have to let you know, like, no one can really know about this or anything. Like, none of the brothers in the frock could know. Like, my family for real can't know. Like, none of my friends could know that I'm here with you tonight. So, like, if you kind of can just keep this to yourself and, like...
oh, I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go.
I want to clarify that, of course, douchebag men exist, and I completely understand the trans women who don't want to date them, that type of man, but I think it's important for trans women, for trans people in general, to treat the ones who are attracted to us as individuals first. Instead of putting them into boxes like this, he's a chaser, he's transphobic, he's a player. It's important because otherwise we would mischaracterize some really great people. And first of all, that's not ethical. Second of all, it means that we're going to be alone. It is a trans person's responsibility to educate others just in general about our experience with gender dysphoria, with the transition. Dating is hard, and it's hard for some to discover that they're attracted to trans people. We have to respect that. Real transsexuals already know this. Most of us do respect regular people, especially the ones who want to date us, you know. So if you're a person attracted to trans people, good for you. Please remember, real transsexuals are not here to shame you, make fun of you. If you're a nice person, we can help you. If you're going through a difficult time figuring out your sexuality. Most trans people you see in the media are not actually trans. So don't waste your time trying to date them. They're not worth it. Before you go, I just want to thank you for watching this video. If you want to see more content like this, remember to hit subscribe and the notification bell. Follow me on social media, and I cannot wait to see you all in the comments down below. Peace out.